Marfoogle TV live in 3. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and let's get into it. The Houthis allegedly shoot down U.S. MQ-9 drones in video footage. This is a huge deal if it is true, but again, we have been so, pumped full of BS in the last 6 months that who knows? I mean, forever, really. But as far as the everything that's going on with the Houthis and Yemen, it is a big deal that the media is, of course, covering every second, especially since a few weeks ago with the whole signal debacle. The Houthis released footage on Friday alleging to show the terror group shooting down a U.S. MQ-9 Reaper drone during Thursday's airstrikes on Houthi strongholds in Yemen. The terror group claimed to have shot down the MQ-9 with a surface-to-air missile. This is kind of surprising, and again, it makes you wonder, like a video like this, could it be Wag the Dog? Could it be an AI-generated video? Could it be even freaking, we've seen that one video game that looks so realistic that people share the simulations, the war simulations, as a real video. So could it be something like that the government then uses and goes, look at this, and then escalate into a conflict? We've seen our governments do that. In fact, all governments have done something like it. But again, the Trump administration and the previous JB administration targeted the Iran-backed terror group following frequent Houthi attacks on shipping and on Israel, a Middle Eastern ally. The MQ-9 Reaper drone is reportedly a multi-million-dollar surveillance aircraft, with Forbes reporting the value of said drone standing at about $30 million. The MQ-9, of course, you've probably seen photos of these. These are what, is in your outside the wire kind of movies. You're obviously, if you've seen any kind of media around these things, they are one of the most fancy drones that we have. Any movie with a dystopian future of these things roaming around the U.S., you've probably seen them. But again, the MQ-9 drone is primarily utilized as an intelligence collection asset. According to the U.S. Air Force, the drone boasts significant loiter time, wide-range sensors, multi-mode communications suite, and precision weapon capabilities. It also provides a unique capability to perform strike, coordination, and reconnaissance against high-value fleeting and time-sensitive targets. Again, fleeting, I'm pretty sure one of these, or maybe the Predator, I forget, there's a difference between the bigger one and the smaller one, but one of the strikes that happened quite a few months ago was they ended up getting a missile and getting it through the passenger side of the roof of the car and taking the guy out. I'm guessing that's what they mean by fleeting, but I may be wrong. But again, yeah, these things are savage, and if they did take out a $30 million thing, this is just one more thing that they can go to Congress or go and say, hey, we need to step this up. This is a big escalation. Of course, this big escalation, again, Houthis, anything that they do, our president has pretty much made it clear who he is going to hold responsible. So we'll talk about that here in a minute. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. All right, and again, something like this, the great comment here. Let's see, Colonel McGregor commented today. Let's see if I can find this comment again. Let's see. Colonel McGregor said today that they have shot down 20 of them so far, so $800 million so far. So, again, I'm surprised that they are able to take these things down, but they may have some pretty advanced, we're thinking of like rocket, shoulder-mounted RPGs or something. They probably have super advanced gear that they've gotten from Iran and probably, via Iran or some other adversary that we have that wants them to do harm to us, right? But I do leave the option. I'm not trying to say that this wasn't the deal that happened here, but I will say this. We know that almost all of the governments of the world have agendas, and if an agenda can be pushed forward through a disaster, well, they will do it. And they have done it before, and they've even basically made something happen. I mean, heck, look at all the stuff that's come out this last year, which confirms what people thought about the JFK stuff, about MLK, about all sorts of things. I mean, heck, half the time our government is involved in some of the biggest events of our lifetimes. So, Obama called it Predator drone. So I think Predator is the larger one. Dex, is there a difference? The MQ-9, is that the MQ-9 Predator? Is that like the full name, or MQ-9 is the smaller one? I feel like MQ-9 was the smaller one, and Predators. Well, let's bring you in first. Let's bring in my co/internet brother, Dex James. They'll get mad if I don't introduce you properly.
Yeah, and if I don't say what I say, right?
Yeah.
Hello, Adam. Hello, Fuggle fam. I am doing just fine. But yeah, the MQ-9 Reaper is larger, more powerful, and versatile compared to the MQ-1 Predator. So the Predator is that smaller one.
Yeah. So again, I could see this happening 20 times. That's $800 million. That's kind of a drop in the bucket compared to the money that we've already sent over to countries that really didn't benefit us whatsoever. So I'm not surprised. But he said that he would hold the Houthis, Iran, responsible for any attacks from Houthis from then on out. So, isn't that kind of right there too?
It is. The number, though, that we've spent is staggering. But just keep in mind, we're talking about just the difference between those two drones. The MQ-9 being larger, it's called the hunter killer drone because it not only does surveillance, but it takes things out, right? It's got armaments on it, where the Predator is just surveillance. So that's why it's smaller. It's mostly just surveillance capabilities.
Huh.
So it's an expensive one when they take out the Reapers.
Elk Harper says, is this channel real news? It is absolutely real news. And if you ever have a question about any of the sources for the news here, you can always go over to marfooglenews.com and you can find a full bibliography of our sources. Again, that is available right there. Again, the link is right down below in the description. So if you ever want to know where we got it, who put it out, whether it be New York Times, CNBC, Fox News, but I don't know if you would even call them real news. We go over what mainstream media is saying, and we have anywhere from 1,000 to 4,000 people watching, and you get a real feedback, a live feedback loop of what people are actually thinking about these stories. If we all believe them, or if we all, are thinking the same thing, that this is BS. So it is a very valuable thing having many of your peers around with many different, viewpoints, and you see a story, and if it doesn't smell right, usually people will be able to smell it. So again, make sure to go check that out if you would like to go see any of the bibliography. All right, and then Trump waved off Israel strike after divisions emerged in his administration. Trump waved off this Israel strike. So I'm going to go into this. I'm going to load this up. It wasn't loading a second ago, but I just got it. Israel developed plans for attacking Iranian nuclear facilities that would have required U.S. assistance, but some administration officials had doubts. Again, Israel had planned to strike Iranian nuclear sites as soon as next month, but was waved off by President Trump in recent weeks in favor for negotiating a deal with Tehran to limit its nuclear program. And again, this is according to administration officials and others briefed on the discussions. So I don't know how public that these people are able to come out and just say this, that the president was just going, wave, you're not going to strike them yet. I could see the president saying, don't strike them yet because this is a huge deal. Even Russia has chimed in. We actually covered how Russia says it will be a catastrophic mistake for us to take out the nuclear sites. But again, look at what's happening today. The same day that this stuff is coming out, you have Houthis then taking down another drone. Is that drone enough for them to, say that's over the red line? If there's been 20 other ones shot down, I don't see how this could really push the needle over the line. But again, the debate highlighted fault lines between historically hawkish American cabinet officials and other aides more skeptical that a military assault on Iran could destroy the country's nuclear ambitions and avoid a larger war. It resulted in rough consensus for now against military action, with Iran signaling a willingness to negotiate. Now, remember, they were going to go to the table on Saturday, and they said, oh, yeah, we're totally going to go to the table on Saturday. They basically said in 50 different ways, we're not going to do anything for you guys. We're not even trying to. In fact, they even said that first Saturday meeting, they didn't even want to sit in the same room as the president. They wanted to have somebody like a tennis ball, boy, go back and forth with a message back and forth and translate it, and they didn't even want to see each other. So it didn't seem like negotiation was going to go that great. Then on Saturday, we find out at later that day that, oh yeah, it went really well, but not really. Basically, the president said that they were tapping him on, and they said, well, we'll continue this next Saturday. Almost like they talked about golf, and they're like, before we get into the serious stuff, let's take another week, and this time we'll meet over here in Paris or over here in this. So nothing really has moved forward, and this could be a stall tactic, which is what the president said. If they are stalling, what are they stalling for? If you look at all of the adjacent stories that are coming out right now, it looks like everything is about to pop off. If you don't believe me, go look at gold right now. Gold is almost at $3,400. And you see some of the countries, literally, not only Germany saying, hey, we want you to hand count our gold. We don't even know if you have it anymore. But you see all of these huge, huge parties buying up gold like there is no tomorrow, like something is about to happen to the US dollar. Again, go check our sources on that, because you can go look at the actual purchases, the contracts for the futures of gold at the very end of last month. It was insane. In one day, there was 45,000 new contracts for gold. 580 tons, I believe it was, in one day in like 3 hours. So yeah, something's going on. That's like somebody got a heads up from the very top, go get gold now. Not to mention all of the hoarding that's been going on with all of these countries, and all of these countries essentially either teaming up with BRICS or pulling out of a certain way, or teaming up on one side or the other. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. What do you guys think about this? Do you think that this is going to escalate things? And Dex, let's talk about 80 perished in the U.S. attack on Yemen, Houthis say.
Well, maybe this was retaliation, right, for losing a drone. But yeah, they basically took out a huge fuel port. They took out about 80 people, according to the rebels. They were coming out saying this was the worst attack from Washington in its 15-month campaign against them. So the strikes on them aim to cut off the supplies and funds for the rebels and control large swaths of that peninsula's poorest country, according to the U.S. military. So, but yeah, it was a huge strike, and we continue to just completely go after them. Like, it's not like little one shots here, one shots there, like the last administration. It was just, oh, we took out a shed that might have had some, weapons in it in the back of a, military base there. No, Trump's going in pretty hardcore, or at least our military feels like they're unshackled here and have been hitting them really hard.
Yeah, and this is all connected. Many people probably don't realize how this is all connected, but Yemen and the Houthis is all an extension of Iran. Everything that just happened in Syria, the supposed organic revolution of this revolutionary former Al-Qaeda dude that just put together all of the local forces and took over Syria. Do people get this? Jawbreaker had CIA go in and pay local forces to essentially have, local forces instead of military go in right after 2001 event. Right before Syria was taken over not too long ago, which was a huge Iranian kind of foothold. Right before that, do you remember we sent $350 million? Like $350 million left the U.S. and went straight to Ukraine. After all of these other payments, all of these payments kept going out. And then, of course, later we're finding out a lot of this stuff. It's like, well, how do you account for this? Oh, and why do these military members from this country all of a sudden drive supercars and have mansions? Because something shady is going on. That's my opinion, at least. But yeah, so like with that, it's like you can totally see right now everything that is happening. This is all connected. And a lot of people that you probably know and a lot of people that are going to their 9 to 5s next to you are not even paying attention to this. And they don't care. They don't care if we bomb the crap out of Yemen. To them, it's another place. They don't see the faces. They don't see the people. They don't see the place. They don't even know where it is on a map. So they don't really care. But this has huge implications because it is connected directly with Iran and this whole situation that is about to pop off into World War III. So yeah, it sounds like it was a pretty big one. So, and let's see here. Thank you, by the way, Taijas NZ, Zach Diecast Mansour. Nice to see you, and a fellow diecast guy. Tree Hookers, John Taylor, Shastina. We've got Rashid in the house. Stephen McMahon, thank you again. Thanks for all of the members. Briar Patch, Tammy Johnson. Dees, thank you so much. Iran is Mozil Magog. Hey, Kathy Piina, nice to see you. And then Elizabeth Anderson, nice to see you. And Elk Harbor, it looks like you're probably new. Welcome to the fam. Hopefully you give us a chance here. And then before we move on, I do want to make sure that we put this out. We have at least 4 out of the 5 winners, and we have their names. We had to contact them first and make sure that it was okay that we said them. But yeah, so 4 of the 5 winners. William T. was the big winner, again, from Indiana, that won the $1,000 at griddown.com and the EMP Shield. We have Stephanie H. from Florida, won an EMP Shield. Again, an amazing device that will protect against EMP Shield, EMPs, and a Carrington level event from the sun. Liz J. from Florida, I believe I'm saying this right. Is that militia or militia?
It's militia, yeah.
Is it militia? That is such an awesome name.
It's A, but it sounds like an I.
So is it militia? That's the awesome name. Militia G from Ohio is one as well. Congratulations. And then this is the other one. So we still have not gotten a hold of Nat. And then 13 more characters. We can't put out their whole email. But Nat, if your email starts with NAT, then check your email because everybody's been trying to get a hold of you. You won a free EMP shield. Again, we would like to get it to you. So again, NAT and 13 more characters at gmail.com. Make sure to check your spam folder, check your regular folder. Again, check for emails from all of us. All right. And again, alongside this contest, again, I hope that everybody does end up going over to EMP Shield because the finalization of this contest means the end of the Liberty sale. This was done only for the Foogle fam. Again, it stacks on top of our $50 off. And if you did enter that contest, but you did not win, there was a special email sent out. So make sure to check that because on top of the Liberty sale, on top of our stacked on affiliate code, again, there is also an additional savings in that email. So go check that out from EMP Shield. Again, you can get up to $200 off from us, $200 off from them on 4 devices. So I would pull together with some people, but even if you get 1, you get $70 off. On 2, you get 100 plus 60. On 3, you get 120 plus 150. Again, R is grandfathered in to stack on top of any sale they have. So make sure to go check that out. That's a device that will protect your cars, trucks, motorcycles, boats, generators against a solar event or a adversarial event like an EMP strike or multiple EMP strikes. Go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. Make sure to use the code MARF. You're helping our independent channel. Nobody likes ads, but if you've been here for a long time or if you ask somebody that has, all of our ads are things that we believe in. We do not rotate them on a daily. No third party chooses our affiliates. We don't have a multi-channel network. We are doing this all on our own. So we appreciate you being patient through the ads. Again, I know that all of us, including myself, have a lower attention span now because of all of the media. But again, thank you guys for putting up with that, because we are up against a mountain of just BS. So thank you guys so much for not only supporting us, but getting yourself prepped at the same time. And then China calling a lot, and this is our president saying this, a lot. I can see him saying this too. China's been calling a lot since last week's tariff increase. Deal could happen as soon as 3 weeks from now. Something just does not sit right with this. Does not at all. Mark Lingerfelt, by the way, thank you. And I did see your first comment. I wanted to make sure I did call you out for the first one as well. Mark Lingerfelt, thank you for the super chat. And then thank you so much, Inquiring Minds, for gifting out 10 badges. That's super awesome. Again, that's super, thank you. And make sure to thank Inquiring Minds if you got one of those badges. And then Wally gifted 5 badges. Thank you. Dex, as far as, the president is saying that China is now calling and that this is all going to work out. I'm not too sure, but.
Well, look, I said this a while back when it first happened. That what's going to happen is we're going to have to wait a few weeks, and he's saying a few weeks now. I think I said that about a week ago. It would be a few weeks, maybe even a month, but you'll see them get together. You'll see them come out of a meeting and say that they came up with a win-win so that neither side looks bad, and they came up with a solution that works for both countries. Because, look, China can't let this happen forever. The U.S., I don't even know that we can let it happen forever, but neither one of us seem to be on a position of wanting to back down. And I think we have to see, who needs the money more. Do we need it? Do we need their products, or do they need our cash? And I think that's the big question.
By the way, I ended up seeing a notification from my wife's Facebook of my family. I have a couple family members that posted stuff about how they were straight up just spitting lines out from CNN. They were talking about how the tariffs, and what else? They said, do people not realize this is fascism? It was about the Harvard, what's the deal with the Oxford thing? We covered that. The Oxford University, Trump is doing something with Oxford.
Harvard. He's taking away their tax break and removing their tax exempt status.
That's right. And they were like, just you realize, and he's going to just absolutely destroy the education system. And then one of my other family members, this is a family member that's really close, but never watches my show, or a lot in the last few years, we have not talked much. Same mother kind of thing. And she went on another tirade of this. And I just feel like I criticize the president too. When there's stuff when he said, take the weapons first and then go to court and, get your rights back later. I was totally flabbergasted by that. By the warp speed stuff. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I have called out on stuff. But I don't get how people are so just ingrained in these very obvious media narratives that they really, really don't look at the full picture. Because they hate the man, they're going to absolutely repeat all of these lines that are said. I don't understand it. I kind of see myself more in the middle of everything, and I always have. I grew up in Seattle, so I grew up in a very liberal place. But I just cannot see eye to eye with most people around here, and most people can't anymore. Why are we so divided on this? Why are we so divided on some of these simplest things? It's because it is manufactured. It is manufactured by one of the best psyops in history. Over the last 10 years, they've been dividing us like no other. And that to me seems like it's a foreign country that's interfering, or a foreign, party that has been doing this to us, because it is so well done as far as the dividing of us. And I know there's going to be people that will start arguing right now because of it. And that's not okay. That shouldn't be happening. Dex, go ahead. Do you know what I mean though?
Oh yeah. Well, but the whole Harvard thing is a joke in my opinion, because do you know how much money they have? Like there's a thing called an endowment, which is their value. It's the money that they make. It's the property they own. It's the donations that are given to them. It's all of the funds basically that they have to operate on, and they built up this endowment. They have a $53 billion endowment, and they're looking for tax breaks from America. Like they're going to choke over a little bit that Trump's going to take away from them. $53 billion is how much money they have. It's insane. They're not going broke. They're not going to stop educating children.
Yeah, like, Nat Tate says 52 billion. Great comment.
53.2 billion.
By the way, Ghosts and Cars, great comment, says transcend duality. It really has become that. It is you are this or you are that. And no catchy rap song after. I mean, it's insane that we have been trained by the media. And I think a big thing of this is the internet and a lot of the stuff that has been disseminated out into us. And we don't even realize we're being programmed. And I'm not saying you need to come over here and you need to worship the president. No, I would think that it would be better if everybody took a step back from both sides and just judged every situation based on the actual merit of the actual situation. That we shouldn't just be looking at it because this guy put this through. We can't agree with this. I think it's gone to a mental part where like people now, if they hate somebody, and it could be the president or it could be anybody else, if they hate that person, even if their entire life they've agreed with the subject, well, I've always believed in this. If they hear that person that they hate say, I believe in this. Say, I believe in American eagles having their own space in protected wildland. You might believe that your whole life. If the president says it, all of a sudden they're saying, well, this is absolutely absurd. We should be putting them in cages. That's how I see it. And I may be wrong. That's just my opinion. But I just cannot believe that mothers aren't talking to daughters. Fathers aren't talking to sons. I've told this a million times. My aunt had friends that she went painting with every single year for 40 plus years. My aunt's in her 70s now. Once they found out who she voted for, one told the rest, can you believe she did this and voted for this person? And they don't talk anymore. They haven't talked since 2016. That's disturbing to me. I don't see how you could throw away a lifetime of relationship over your political views. And if you do think like that, then I have to say, I think that you might need to unplug for a while because it shouldn't be like that. No matter how strong feelings you have about the guy or the party or this, it's like, it should not be like that. We should all be independent human beings. We're all human beings. Inside our body is one of the most advanced systems in the world. Our brains can do more computations than any current supercomputer. But yet we let ourselves be so dumb that we just follow one narrative or the other. I don't think that that's right. Do you guys think that's right? Let me know in the chat below. By the way, and I hope there's people of all differing views. I hope there's people that hate the president. And I hope people that there's love president. And I hope you guys can get along and go, hey, I hate him. I love him. But what is a movie you like? And then find that common ground. Like it should be common ground 24/7 in here. And not spend your time wasting it on what you disagree upon. Because it's not going to get anywhere. And then Trump administration announces fees on Chinese ships docking at U.S. ports. It's just like one thing after another. This is not going to stop. And again, he said that in 3 weeks, we'll figure out what's going on. It makes me think of like when we were doing these peace deals with Japan. And of course, we did the full oil embargo in Japan. And we had them in a corner and they were doing peace talks. And then all of a sudden, Pearl Harbor popped up. Again, one of their actual ambassadors was here in the United States when all of that went down. Like everybody thought, oh, we're going to find a peaceful solution to this. So keep your heads on a swivel for the next like month right now, because something really does seem like it's afoot. Dex, as far as them announcing the fees, I mean, this is on top of China yesterday or the day before said they're no longer going to accept any shipments of Boeing planes. I mean, it's just been a tit for tat.
Well, yeah, and this one's interesting. It's not just that China bringing a ship over here; it is Chinese-made ships. They're looking at levies on ships that are manufactured by China because China has the largest shipping industry, not the largest shipbuilding industry. Sorry. And I think that's one of the things because he's been pushing hard to get America back into shipbuilding, especially for the military, but also, getting back into what we used to do, building ships, and we should be building more. So by putting levies on ships that are coming in that are built by China, not just that they're coming from China, or not just that it's a Chinese company bringing them in. This is like another angle on the whole. How are we, going to tariff, or how are we going to fine or charge these ships that are coming in, or make things more advantageous for countries to buy ships from other countries. So all of a sudden, if you're, coming out of Holland and you're shipping or you're buying a whole bunch of ships to move freight, well, do you buy them from China or do you buy them from another country, or America for that matter? So the whole trade industry is getting turned on its head, whether it's the tariffs on the actual goods coming in from China, or in this case, fees potentially being placed on ships that are manufactured in China. Yeah, it's all gonna affect us in our pocketbook. You don't see it today, but you'll see it in the coming days, weeks, months, and throughout the year if it continues to go down this path.
Oh yeah, I mean, with all of this, I mean this is decoupling. What I found fascinating is I said I have this thought, this thought, this thought. I was talking to Grok, and if you don't know, the latest Grok that has come out, it was so scary when they released the newest version that somebody was able to say, I want to take out Elon, and it gave them specific plans with actual dates that he was going to be places. It showed like down to the thing, like his schedule is this, and he'll be leaving the building. You're going to want to be 500 meters away. You'll have a perfect angle, like that kind of stuff. Not only on him, but Schumer and other people, he was able to ask this thing everything. The newest Grok, again, I don't like the future of AI. I don't like the future of, to be honest, where humanity is heading with AI and with robots replacing us. And I don't think we've fully thought through like what happens when we are completely dependent on AI and everything is ingraining it now. I mean, you go to half of these articles, they have AIs built into the site. If you go to video games now are ingraining it into the video games, for God's sake. It's ingrained everywhere. It's ingrained in the restaurants. They're going to have an AI assistant take your order instead of a person. Like, I don't like all this stuff. But when I talk to it, the thing is, the crazy powerful thing about it is it can grab actual data from all over and it can do deep dives. And I talked to it about, I said, my opinion is that a lot of people did not think that this could happen because we are so entangled with China that we're dependent on them and they're dependent on them. They have $700 billion invested into our bonds and in our country. And we did $550 billion worth of trade last year. It goes both ways, right? They make certain things like antibiotics, and they make they have almost monopoly on heavy metals and things like this. And I asked it, and it actually went through, and it found 1,000 reasons. I mean, it kept going, and it said, it even asked me if it could continue. It goes, I think you may be onto something here. And it goes on, and it goes, I actually was surprised by this. I mean, it's talking to me like a human. It's creepy. And it said, I was actually surprised by this. The more and more I look, it looks like they are doing a decoupling. Go ask ChatGPT or Grok yourself and ask it if China and US look like it is decoupling. Decoupling would be us separating. I mean, it's very obvious with the tariffs. People assume that these are all temporary. But if you look at the president's long-term plan of bringing everything home, this isn't going to end well. Not for China, at least. And if you look at where the technology is heading, we're not going to need people to screw in little screws. Oh, and that's what my family members said. They said, these people, just watch, they want us to be assembling things and screwing things in ourselves. Oh, that's real great. Like, oh, that will be a much better job. And I'm like, we're not going to have those jobs. The jobs right now that are being paid almost nothing for peanuts, that's going to be a robotic arm that is going to be doing the menial task for us. We're not going to be doing those. And guess what happens to China when their biggest thing is manufacturing, and really it comes down to it, it's human labor. Cheap labor has been the entire thing around China. What happens in 10 years when we don't need that? Where does China sit in the world unless they make a huge power move right now? Unless they make a huge power move right now, where do they sit in 10 years? If we have robots making all of our cheap stuff, where you see a tag and it no longer says made in China, but it says made in America by robots, right? That's the freaky part about this, is if you look at the near future, there are a lot of reasons why this really has an urgency to it, as far as if you're sitting in Xi Jinping's seat, if you're sitting in Russia's seat, if you're sitting in NATO's seat. They all have these different agendas that they want to be finished right now, and they want them to be done quickly, including, the president. Well, why does he want Greenland? Well, there's a lot of reasons. Council Foreign Relation has rules and restrictions against us actually putting a missile that will intercept missiles from China, Russia, Iran, and everywhere else. We can put detectors there, we can put sensors and all of that, but under control of Denmark, it can't put the interceptors there. There's a lot of reasons why this is all moving towards somewhere where I don't think people are ready. And that's why we've been telling people to get prepared, get ready. And we're not saying it's the end of the world. This isn't doom and gloom. This is our reality. People have to get with reality, because it is not going to be fun. And then China wants countries to unite against Trump, but is met with wariness. And, as far as opinion, New York Times goes, they're often full of it. But Beijing is using a mix of carrots and sticks to try to prevent other countries from siding with the United States in isolating China. It says China's top leader Xi Jinping and his subordinates are mounting a diplomatic full-court press to try to persuade other countries not to cave to pressure from the Trump administration on tariffs, hoping to show that China will not be isolated in the trade war. In recent days, China's commerce minister has held a video call with the European Union's top trade official, pushing for closer cooperation. Chinese diplomats have been contacting officials in Tokyo and Seoul, and Mr. Xi landed in Vietnam and Malaysia on state visits this week, where he was greeted with carefully choreographed crowds of supporters. I just want to point out, side note, isn't it funny? Everywhere he goes, he needs them to choreograph basically people with Chinese flags, making him feel like that country is 1,000% supportive of China. Like, that's a dictator if I've ever seen one. Just like they did when they came to California. At stake for Mr. Xi and the fate of the global trading system that propelled China's rise as the world's manufacturing powerhouse, as well as access to markets for many Chinese exports, now that the United States has sought to cut them off with debilitating tariffs. The outreach is also a test of China's status as a global power in the face of what Beijing sees as an effort by Washington to contain and suppress its key rival, which the announcement today by the CIA saying that it is our number one priority, it is the most historic adversary we've ever had. I think eventually people are going to start going, oh, maybe they are. Instead of the people going, oh, well, they'll never surpass us. It's China. Whatever they make falls apart in 2 seconds. So this is going to go really fast. I think it's like a roller coaster, and it's at that peak, and it's all of a sudden just going to go downhill and then do a loop. Dex, go ahead.
I mean, look, they're thinking they're going to take advantage of everybody being pissed off at America right now, right? And, who couldn't be more upset than Canada at America? Yet just today, the Prime Minister of Canada comes out and rails against China as the biggest foreign interference threat out there. So, you think that if they were going to, if these other countries that are just mad at us because they're mad at what Trump's doing are really going to turn on America and go running to Xi, it doesn't seem obvious. And I think he wants that. That's what he's running around trying to, build his campaign for. But I think people realize, like, America's very fluid and China's very strict. And if you don't like Trump now, wait 4 years, you'll have somebody else. It's sort of the thing. Just like if you didn't like Biden, well, just wait and there'll be somebody different, America's always shifting and changing, but we've always been America, and we've always been rich. We've always had the money, and we've always had, a lot of great favor for all of these countries. So I think it's very difficult to see him pulling favor just because we're ruffling feathers across the global economy right now.
Demise says Canada in bed with China, especially this new schmuck. With all of you folks in Canada, this reminds me, we've been talking about in the last 2 days how gold has just skyrocketed. By the way, thank you, Trinity. Hi-ho, Kermit the Frog here. Thank you for being here. I was trying to pull up your channel, but it, for some reason, isn't clicking here. I'll pull it up here in a second. Thank you, Trinity, for coming by and stopping by. Bobby Sue, Eileen, and all of the other mods. But I just found this out yesterday. Canada sold all of their gold in 2016. Dex was on a separate deep dive for the show, and again, you're the one who told me that. I am actually in disbelief that I found this out. In 2016, you guys can go look this up. Canada got rid of all of their gold reserves. Isn't that just funky? Like, why would they do that, Dex? What was their reasoning?
They're one of 80 countries that got rid of gold, and they thought it was expensive to protect and manage and keep the gold, and they decided to build their economy around the stock market and their assets, like their traded goods, like oil and other things that they that comes out of their country. So that's pretty much how their dollar is based, or how their value of their country is based, is on that. Or at least it doesn't, like, unlike America, or China for that matter, which has tons of gold. So even in times, if you think, oh my gosh, their dollars are collapsing or their stock market's collapsing, well, there's still a huge amount of gold that helps prop up the value of the country and the value of the monetary system. Even though I know we're not gold backed, but we still have gold. At least we think we do. But and so does China, right? So that's the difference. It is one portion. Gold is one significant portion for many countries that helps control and hold up the value of their economy. Well, if Canada is stuck on the market and their trade, if their trade starts to fall apart, which it kind of is, and if the market is kind of in shambles, which it kind of is, it's not looking pretty for the value of Canadian money, even though their money is kind of okay at the moment, but I don't know how long it's going to last, right? And it's gone down against the US dollar over the years, as it's been anyway. So
Stephen McMahon says the new currency just might be based on the oil reserves and other resources of each country. What if the cryptocurrency that China was talking about, that was supposedly going to be somewhat or somehow gold backed, right? So would that tie into anything? If you had gold, would that tie into if a new currency took over the US dollar? Wouldn't that be beneficial if the new currency was backed by gold? Or is that something that wouldn't make sense?
Well, I mean, it would be, but a lot of people that argue the reason that it took us so long to get out of the Great Depression was that we were gold backed, and having a gold backed dollar gives less flexibility to deal with shifts in the economy. Like having a flexible dollar system like we have today, where we either print more or we retract more based on, and adjusting interest rates, et cetera, based on the economic factors, allows us to react to things like the CV when it came out, and all of a sudden the economy just came to a halt. Like, how do you deal with that? Well, you could have gone into a Great Depression and had 10 years of horribleness, where all the people with gold had money, but everybody else didn't. And it just took a while to get out of it. Or the flexible economy, as they call it, the fiat economy, they could have just printed more cash, which is what they did, to try to, tamper that out and hopefully get us through it so it wasn't as bad as it could have been. That's the other argument for not tying everything to gold. I'm not saying I'm for it. I'm just trying to explain it a little.
Baron Saturday, one of my favorite comments of the day, says, I'll take catastrophic Canadian mistakes for 500, Alex. That's perfect. And Rip Curl says we should have purchased it back then. Yeah. My stepdad knew. He had so many gold coins back when it was 300 and something an ounce. And I mean, it paid for my my stepsister's college. I mean, and more. I think she still has some stashed away. And then the conjugal, Ian Jones, first of all, says, I don't see anything changing anytime soon. And then said it would be very difficult for them to decouple. The reason the Kajugal said mutually assured economic destruction was the reason they melded the economy of the USA and China. Decoupling will be difficult. Difficult, but not impossible. And that's the thing. How long can we go with China advancing? And then I don't think the word is singularity, but essentially coming to this point where now we are at the same level. They say that even the U.S. Pentagon has said that we are going to have China basically come up right beside us. Not only that, even in nukes, they say by 2030 or 2033 that they'll catch up in a lot of that. And they're at breakneck speeds at becoming the largest of every kind of military. They're the largest Navy now. And, people are, oh, well, we've got 11 carriers. They've only got 3. Well, what do carriers matter if there's a new technology that makes them null and void? And Pete Hegseth just said the other day that he's the one who commented. He said that China, he believes that they could take out almost all of our carrier fleet in 20 minutes. So it's like, if you have new technology that changes the overall power structure, we're about to see some major changes. And then maybe that's why they're talking about all these space-based weapons. That's why Donald is saying, we've got weapons they don't even know about. We have weapons the world has never seen. Probably because those are going to have to come out soon, because if there's technology that can make our stealth fighters trackable, they said that China can track all of our F-35s by the exhaust, that they can track the ships, and that there's some sort of computer network in the water that they're now doing to be able to track all of the Navy ships. They're able to spot the ships, then they can take out the ships, especially with hypersonics and new technology. So technology is changing everything. And at what point do you have even if you're coupled in with each other, do you have a world where China becomes more powerful than the US? What does that world look like? If the U.S. is ingrained in every country in the world because of its power level and because of its status as number one, what do you think happens when China becomes number one? Dex, go ahead.
Well, do you think it's going to be, in addition to, fancy space-based weapons, do you think they're going to actually release something like the teleportations or, a lot of people are speculating the whole MH370 flight, things like that have gone missing in the air, with evidence that it just literally disappeared. And there's been a lot of discussion about time warps and other types of technology that's out there. I wonder if that will actually come out in our, recent time. Like, will it come out in the next year to 4 years, or is that something they're going to keep holding on to for another 20?
Well, you know what else is pretty crazy is the fact that the guy that blew up the Cybertruck at the beginning of the year. Do you guys remember this? He said that there was some sort of gravitational propulsion, I forget it, gravitic propulsion system, right? Stuff like that comes out, it's going to throw everybody for a ringer. If there is technology that ends up basically taking physics, putting it in a box and going, hey, can you just put this in the closet somewhere? We don't need it anymore. That's the kind of changes that could literally rock our planet. And if either China or US or wherever the next Einstein or genius that invents this stuff is born, I mean, it could be Germany or Poland, or it could be in Mexico, that somebody invents this next technology that ends up changing the world. And as far as how they're talking, it sounds like that technology has already been invented. Space is being weaponized, whatever your opinion of what space is. It seems to me like they are at least putting that message out. So that message is going to be ends up being what history perceives as the truth. In 20 years, it doesn't matter whether we believe what the media says. In 20 years from now, high school students will be writing essays on that information as if it is fact. And they'll say, that started the war. And that war will be real, based on information that was possibly fake. And then, yes, by the way, my daughter stole my mouse pad. So I'm sorry. Somebody said, I'll buy you a new mouse. It's not my mouse. I don't have my mouse pad anymore. I will fix it. I've got it on a piece of paper, which is better now. Satellite images show Beijing military city. Beijing military city. We talked about this when it was a plan. We've been on for 7 or 8 years now, and we've talked about through all the stages of this. The secretive command center that China is building, it may be the world's largest. Well, why do they need it? In my opinion, something's about to go down. This is, again, China is secretly building a military command center that is expected to dwarf the Pentagon in size. Satellite images showed the rapid construction of a 1,500-acre site located southwest of Beijing. Analysts and researchers said that the facility could be used as a nuclear bunker for Chinese officials. China is constructing a massive military headquarters that could surpass the Pentagon, famously known as the world's largest office building in size. Dubbed Beijing Military City, satellite images captured by the rapid buildup of the secretive facility located 20 miles southwest of the capital. While there is no visible military presence around the complex, U.S. intelligence believes that this colossal complex could serve as a wartime command center and a nuclear bunker. China is rapidly building a nuclear arsenal that in a decade could rival that of the U.S. Again, these are things that in 10 years, things are about to change. China's increasing military presence in the East and South China Sea, particularly in proximity to Taiwan, Japan, and the Philippines, prompted the U.S. to counter Beijing's influence in the Indo-Pacific. As both nations vie for influence in the region, the U.S. has been running joint military exercises with allied nations to ready their forces to operate together. I mean, and they're making changes. They've made changes in the last few years, and there's always these connected events that have a part of all of them. Japan is a great example, and I won't bore you and beat a horse to death, but look up why Japan is now no longer a defensive country. All of these things are connected. This military city, it is going to be planning World War III. It is planning World War III. I bet you. Dex, as far as making a city like this would be crucial as far as if they have something like this, it's literally the logistics part of an actual war, and you would need something big for a big war.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They want to be the biggest, so why wouldn't they build something 10 times bigger than the Pentagon or the largest military facility? But the downside to doing that is it also makes a giant target too. So having just a distribution as opposed to a hub and a centralization has its other advantages as well. Hey, when we're done with this topic, I got another one I threw in up next for you, Adam, that we should talk about, and I'll tell you who sent it to us in a minute.
I'm going to take a guess and say no one here yet?
Well, yeah, but I want to also give credit to Ilea. Ilea gave it to me yesterday, and then no one here yet reminded me of it again just a few minutes ago. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's a good one. So it's a long article, but just, read the first headline, but then jump to the absolute last paragraph, because it's not even an article. I think it says prepared remarks. But if you read the last paragraph, I think that's what's most important.
Okay, so let's read the title here. It says...
And this is on the whitehouse.gov.
Remarks by Director Kratsios at the Endless Frontiers Retreat. And then as prepared for delivery. So this is a speech that is going to be given, right? So thank you, Ilea, and thank you, no one here yet. Both have been really, really awesome, sending breaking news, interesting stories. So thank you guys. This is a viewer-powered channel, so thank you guys. It is the choices of individuals that will make the new American golden age possible. The choice of individuals to master the sclerosis of the state, and the choice of individuals to craft new technologies and give themselves the scientific discoveries that will bend time and space, make more with less, and drive us further into the endless frontier. Bend time and space. So Dex, that's going into, you just talked about that. You must have reminded them about that.
Yeah, when I said it, he sent me that, and then I was like, "Yeah, I remember Eileen had showed me that last night." So, but it kind of goes back to that topic that a lot of people are talking about, like, what are these? You know, Trump said we've got weapons or we've got technology that no one's seen yet, that no one can even fathom, that is so massively powerful, and a lot of people speculate it could be, you know, time warping, space bending, whatever you want to call it, teleportation, as I said earlier. You know, a lot of people refer back to the not yet debunked imagery from the MH17 flight that has like 3 orbs flying around it and a heat signatured military camera. And then the plane just goes away. It's just gone. Like it's not even there anymore. And after these orbs were spinning around it. I'm not saying it's true. I'm not saying it's false. It just hasn't necessarily been fully debunked yet. And a lot of people speculate that that was one of the things that happened to that flight that just went into nowhere. And they never found any of the crash site, never found any of the people or the wreckage has never been found.
Well, they think, and I've watched several documentaries on it because it's fascinating. There's one guy that they followed, and he pulled all of these parts, but it was like every little part he found, it was like everybody debated whether it was even a part of it, and they were so small. Yeah, it doesn't make it doesn't make sense at all. Like those people too, did they time travel? Did they end up in 2033 or something? Why would it happen to that plane? Were they trying to test if they could do it on that big of a device, and they took that plane and just said all of those people are just going to be gone now? I mean,
there was somebody important on that plane. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I was trying to remember too.
Since I looked into it, there was somebody important. Yeah, there probably were, but there was one particular person about some sort of advanced technology, and I can't remember who it is or the story on it because I haven't looked it up in a while. But you know, whether it's that or whether it's the vault of, you know, the Tesla tech that's, you know, we've always, you know, rumored about that what Nikola Tesla had built, and whether that'll be released or whether it's some, you know, crazy space beam lasers that can just take everything out in a split second. Like, I don't know what it is, but something's coming. And the real question is, are we going to see it soon, or are they just going to keep it in the back pocket? I think they keep it in the pocket as long as they can, but maybe Trump's the one that says, you know what, we're going to bring it about. And maybe we're making the world such an unstable place right now because we got to bring it about.
Yeah, well, and what if everything gets to the edge of the precipice of just the worst event you could ever think of, and then we get this mind-blowing, world-changing kind of evolution kind of event? That would be kind of crazy. Before we move on with all of the stuff that we've been talking about, and obviously if you've been following our show, we have recommended getting yourself a kit with antibiotics. Jace is the service we recommend because it's very easy, simple. From the comfort of your couch, you can end up talking to a board-certified doctor. You say, hey, I want a Jace case. But not only that, you're looking at their add-on list and you go, hey, I would like an albuterol inhaler. I want that stuff that Joe Rogan was taking and CNN made fun of him for. Again, that is all possible with Jace. Go to marfooglenews.com/Jace and make sure to use the code MARF. Antibiotics is one of the 3 out of 4 things that we recommend: food, water, medicine, and then protection. Protection could fall under the Beretta or EMP shield, era. But as far as having this, if there is no way to get to the hospital, if there is no pharmacies, that's something that people should be thinking about. Go to marfooglenews.com/Jace. Make sure to use the code MARF. Absolutely appreciate everybody that goes through us for this kind of stuff. You get a discount. You're getting something out of it you physically hold. You're not just donating money. You're not giving money away. You're actually getting something of extreme value at a discount and helping your favorite channel at the same time. So we appreciate it. Thank you so much. marfooglenews.com/Jace. Make sure to use the code MARF. Also, check out Jace Daily. That is where you can get, again, a year's supply of your medication all in one go. And again, that is something that you can rotate into your normal prescription, and you will always have a year of your meds. So if the lights go out on a Friday from that day on, 365 days, you have your medicine regardless if there's hospitals around and regardless if there's pharmacies around. And that can be for regular disasters, earthquakes, storms, hurricanes, tornadoes. Again, any kind of disaster could put you in that position. Ask anybody from Louisiana, from Katrina or North Carolina or any of the places that have had these things that were to them expected but unexpected at the same time. All right, and then CIA director, anytime they're involved, something is going on. It says China is number one priority, poses biggest challenge from an adversary in U.S. history. And I absolutely believe, this, I believe wholeheartedly, is the truth. As far as the CIA saying it, there's all sorts of shady stuff going on. I bet you this is because there's all sorts of things buzzing around the CIA. Of course, there's rumors and speculation and pretty much hard evidence, at least, to say that there have been flights going into Bagram, that they may be taking over bases and things like this, which says that something very well may be going on in the Middle East. Now they're saying that China is the biggest challenge. Why the timing of it? Why saying China? Why aren't, they're not talking about what's going on in the Middle East. They're more so talking about China. And this goes back to my theory that it all ties back to China, that China is the ringleader in all of this, that they are organizing these people. They would not have the ability to do kind of a coup or a mutiny of the world unless they team up together. And that's what I think is happening. I think they are all teaming up to try to take America off its top spot. And I think we're seeing drastic measures. I think we're seeing unprecedented events, even with our president currently in office, getting that spot after just barely turning his head and surviving an attempt at his life. We're seeing a history that may not have been. So I think everything right now should be paid attention to, especially regarding CIA, China, and all of this, because these spooks are the ones that really have countries, changing. They can send in 5 of these CIA guys and take out a leader and take out a country. Heck, all they have to do is leave with a big enough suitcase of money and they'll pay, half of the forces of the country to take over themselves. That's usually how it happens. You can go back throughout history and see this. So this memo, it says, for the CIA to continue successfully defending our nation, we will build upon our strong foundation and pursue with laser-like focus the near-term priorities for CIA that our president and our country demand. China sits at the very top of that list, Ratcliffe wrote. Dex, what do you think he meant when he says, laser-like focus, near-term priorities that our president and our country demand? China sits at the very top of that list. What do you think that they mean by all of this and pointing this out, that they're the top priority, basically saying that how big of a threat they are, or something else?
Absolutely, it's how big of a threat they are, and you got to remember they're the intelligence community, so it's their job to gather intel. It's their job to find sources that are willing to give them state secrets and bring them back and work those sources to get that. So if it's their top priority, it means it's their top priority to get it, to target and go after China because of the fact that it is the greatest threat. Well, intelligence is key when it comes to anything military. Intelligence is key when it comes to anything diplomatic. So yeah, that it is absolutely imperative. Based on what he's saying, means it's absolutely imperative because Trump has said it's the number one thing. So that goes down the path of, okay, well, we've gone to a trade war with them. We understand that we're looking like we're decoupling from them. There's a huge military issue between us and them, and they're trying to outnumber us by the numbers, but also by power and control, whether it be the Panama Canal or the South China Sea or the global shipping lanes around the world, or partnering up with Egypt, which they just started doing, as we reported, I think yesterday, which controls the Suez Canal, right? So all of these things where China is basically putting its hands and getting its tentacles into and power control into all of these things that basically are a threat to the role that America has had in the past and has presently. And if we don't want that to erode and we want to stay strong where we were, we have to keep them at bay. So that puts them as the number one threat. And that goes the whole gamut from trade to war.
I was gonna try to find something here. Say was a threat prior to. I'm just curious. I mean, it just seems like there's so. By the way, the statements that are being said, right? History repeat itself. So what do you think happens before a war, right? Even if you don't believe what they're saying, they're putting it out to the public. They are putting the messaging, the narrative out there that China is the growing threat, that they are the number one priority. Much like, and I could use examples from 2001 that said that the guys with the things wrapped around their head from different countries, that they were the biggest threat. And they focused everything on it. China, for them to say, and for the CIA and for all these people to come out and say, this is the biggest threat, that is a narrative that they're putting in your head because this is soon going to be the main thing on everybody's agenda. And it makes me think of history. Did officials say that Japan was a growing threat prior to Pearl Harbor? Yes, U.S. officials recognized Japan as a growing threat before Pearl Harbor. Diplomatic tensions escalated due to Japan's aggression in Asia, particularly in the invasion of Manchuria and China in 1937. The U.S. responded with economic sanctions, including oil embargoes, which at that time, Japan only had 2 years left of oil, and they were running this huge military operation at that point. So they got really, it kicked up a hornet's nest. That's where an embargo and a trade war and sanctions physically turned into a war with a surprise attack. And that was with Japan, a very honor-filled society that they weren't going to back down. They made comments. If you go through old newspapers, the translation of the Japanese official says, we're not going to back down to U.S. demands. It's history repeating itself. It's going in a circle. And the fact that there's so many people that maybe I don't see how they're ignoring this. That's why I said it's either ignorant of history or so ingrained into a certain history they believe that they're just ignoring it. I don't understand it. Again, noted Japan's military buildup and expanded its ambitions in the Pacific. By 1940s, officials like Secretary of War Henry Stimson and Secretary of State Cordell Hull expressed concerns about Japan's alignment with the Axis powers and potential for conflict. However, while a general threat was acknowledged, the specific attack on Pearl Harbor in December was by surprise due to underestimations of Japan's audacity and precise intentions. What is happening now? People doubt that China will do this. I saw it 20 times in chat. Like, China wouldn't do that. They're not going to they're not going to stir up the eagle nest, right? We don't know this. And right now they're saying within 3 weeks we'll come to some sort of agreement that they're calling a lot. To me, it just seems like history repeating itself. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. By the way, thank you, Mark Lingerfeld. Thank you for being one of the top supporters tonight. Again, as well as a few others. The 2 badge givers tonight. You guys are also on that list. So thank you, and thank you for your support tonight. We will be shouting you out in the shoutro. Also, I do want to say thank you to our awesome mods. Make sure to go check them out over at marfooglenews.com/friends. Trinity was here tonight. Awesome person. And she does deep dives. She's closing in on 9,000 subscribers. You guys got to go check out her channel. She's been, of course, doing a ton of all sorts of great stuff. So make sure to go check out her channel. Again, also, wanted to point out as well, if you have a hot tip, if you have a story for us, make sure to go to MFN Tips. If you go to marfooglenews.com, you can go to the 4th tab over. It says MFN Tips line. That blue highlighted area right there, again, click that and you'll get to a place where you can put a completely anonymous tip. If you have a story you want us to know, again, you can put that there. If you want to put an email and have us respond to you, you can. Otherwise, the only requirements is your hot tip and a screen name that we can credit it to. We're not going to say this is absolute fact if we don't have backing to it. But if you want to get your message out or a story or something else, that's the way to do it. And that's the way you can do it discreetly. All right. And then Dex, thank you so much for your service today. I appreciate you.
Much love. Great job, brother.
All right, you guys. And again, thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. I appreciate you. Much love. Again, thank you, everybody that supported tonight. I appreciate you. Stephen McMahon says, why do we still know nothing about the would-be Matthew Crooks? Good question. That whole thing. I had my side thoughts on that too, especially because of the pictures and things that... my thoughts on that were debunked, but I still believe the debunked story. So again, we could go into that in a future episode. Thank you guys. We will see you on the next one. Again, make sure to subscribe to our other channel, Marfoogle News. You can go check out the, of course, video we did on CIA. We are going to war with. Boom. Check that out. That is over on marfooglenews.com. All you have to do is look for that thumbnail. And if you want to find the bibliography for today's show, all you have to do is click on today's thumbnail on marfooglenews.com. And of course, you'll find a full bibliography of every single article, tweet, video, picture, document down in the description down below. All right, you guys, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Much love. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro. You'll be ported right over to Marfoogle Jams if you stick around.